Happy Pride Month, everybody. How is everybody doing? This is the weekly cosmic weather for the week of June 6th through the 12th, 2022. And it is indeed Pride Month. So happy Pride to all the fellow LGBTQIA plus members out there. I've got my Pride get up on. I've got my cool rainbow glasses. I've got my sweet ass straw hat. I'm gonna take my glasses off because the ring light is messing up my flow. But look at my jacket. You know, I got a whole little situation going on. I hope that whether you are in the LGBTQ community or if you're just an ally, that you are having fun and dressing up, living loud, living proud. That's my MO. Leo Venus, 5th house placements. Got Jupiter in there too. So anyway, I want to start off this podcast. I was just listening to a bunch of like motivational videos, motivational speakers on YouTube as I was prepping. And I have this Mel Robbins quote just ingrained in my brain. And it's, I guess, less of a quote and more of a definition. But I want to use this to set off this week's weekly weather because I think it's something that you can really, you can carry this with you for life, but I think in particularly coming out of eclipses, coming out of a Mercury retrograde, and coming out of last week where all the planets were at a standstill, this might resonate with you and be something that you can use to just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Mel Robbins, your way into action. But the quote is, confidence is not a belief in oneself. Confidence is a willingness to try. Come on. How, I don't know about you, but that just like hit me to my core and just like inspired me, because when you think about confidence, when I think about confidence, I personally feel like my belief in myself wavers, right? I know I'm highly experienced. I know I'm highly educated. I know I'm entertaining. That part, all those parts are, remain to be true. But my belief in the ability to take those things and make that my everyday life, make that my everyday business, make that part of how I make my living, the belief in that within myself wavers. But when I think about confidence being the willingness to try, when I tell you I will try almost anything. And when she said that, I feel like, oh my gosh, I will. My willingness to try is through the roof. I will try almost anything once. I've jumped out of a plane. I still want to bungee jump off of a damn bridge, like over a body of water. Something about the body of water being there, if it snapped, at the furthest point, from the drop, I'd be closer to the water so it wouldn't, in my mind, it wouldn't kill me. I could be wrong about that. I wasn't a physics person, so, but that's what makes me feel better. But this is what I'm saying is that when I think about my willingness to try and that being confidence, then all of a sudden I take on like, oh my God, I am a very confident person. And some of you might be looking at this outfit like, you got to be real confident to wear something like that in public, Graham. And I guess there is that kind of confidence too. I love clothes, and even if I look outrageous, I don't, it doesn't bother me. It's self-expression, baby. I almost said another B word. But when I thought about that and I said, oh my gosh, I said to myself, I think maybe that was the most powerful experience of hearing Mel say that it was, one of the first times that I actually sat there within myself and I believed it when I said, oh, well, then I'm a very confident person. That's very powerful. So I know last week was not the easiest week. And I prepped you. If you listen to this podcast week by week, I prep you for every single week. And I was talking about it a lot on Instagram on the day-to-day, because I know a lot of you listen to this podcast at the top of the week, Monday, Tuesday. And then, by the time you get to Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're like, what did he say? Or you're not even thinking about it. So on Instagram, I was pounding it in because I was getting so many messages. So many messages on Instagram, phone calls from friends and family saying like, I want more for myself, but nothing's happening, nothing's moving. And it was just like, okay, you clearly don't listen to the podcast, or you're not signed up for the newsletter, because I covered all of this and you would not feel this crazy if you soaked in the astrology of the moment. And the astrology of the moment last week was that Mercury and Saturn were stopped. They were not moving. They stayed at the same degree. And that's because Mercury ended his retrograde, but he slowed down into a stop and to move forward. And then Saturn on Saturday stopped to go backwards. So when both planets like that are just stopped, they don't move, then we don't move. But that does not mean, and this was the point I was trying to pile drive into your mind and into your being, was that doesn't mean that you don't get to do things. It doesn't mean that you just say, well, planets aren't moving, so I'm just not going to do anything. No, it's the type of work you do. It's the type of movement that you do. So it was all the back end grunt work. That's the time, and we're still in it. Now, it does start to dissipate this week. Saturn, with a Saturn station, we got to give him 5 days before and 5 days after. So we really, as of Thursday this week, we start, Saturn retrograde is settled, and then he's going to be, backtracking until October, I believe, 23rd. Did I write that down? I don't think I did. But with Mercury, he's only going to move 3 degrees this week. So that's not his normal clip. He's 1 to 2 degrees a day on, when he's resumed forward motion at regular speed. So, he's slowly. So this week it's more of a slow and steady march than it is a sprint to the finish. But we've got some Uranus influence this week that can bring the shock and awe factor. We've got Uranus active today, Monday, June 6th, and we've got him active with Venus on Saturday, the 11th. So when Uranus steps into a week, we know that there's going to be some kind of rile up. There's going to be some kind of revolution. There's going to be some kind of plot twist or some kind of unexpected something. It's like an electrifying energy. So we know that at the top of the week and towards the end of the week, we've got some Uranian influence that can kind of take you, out of left field, where you're kind of like, wait, what? Hold on. What just happened? What's going on? And you just kind of hit that. And sometimes that's within you, right? Sometimes that is something that, like a brilliant idea, a genius idea, or just something that kind of, you want to grab ideas that come like under a Uranus influence. You want to grab them and write them down, or you want to make them something tangible quick, because it doesn't stick around for a long time. The idea itself, so you just kind of want to use this week as a time to okay, when I get an idea, I just want to write it in my memo pads in my phone, or I want to write it down on a piece of paper. I want to hold on to this. You might not be ready to move on it just yet because the skies are the way they are, slow moving, but it could be a really good idea nonetheless. So that does make this a little bit like last week, where we are still moving out of that stop, that standstill. So grunt work in your list of things to do, the things that you've been putting off, the things that you just I really don't want to do this. And I haven't wanted to, I've been needing to do this for weeks or months or days. This is the time to do it. And I'm going to tell you that this is the time to do it because things are still not at full clip with both of these planets. So, that's just, Saturn's got us revising our structures, our foundations, the building blocks that we've been putting into place since the end of February. We're going back to make sure there's no cracks in the foundation that we've laid thus far. And Saturn retrograde, listen, Saturn, all the outer planets, they hit us with a retrograde about 5 months out of the year, every year. So they are impactful when they have their stations. You know, we feel their stops, we feel their direction switch, and then we resume. And then we can actually get a lot, especially under a Saturn retrograde. There's a lot wherever Saturn is falling in your chart, wherever 25 degrees of Aquarius falls in your chart. It's actually where you can actually call in some serious foundation building, some serious help, some serious assistance. Aquarius, right? The sign of community and people and collaborations. So, you know, there's a lot of opportunity here to say, okay, I've laid this much groundwork since February, but now I'm realizing I need some more help, or I need some more assistance. I need some more collaboration. I need some more community involvement, group involvement. I need some more tech. I need to get into, I need to integrate some more, I need to refresh my website. I need to refresh my email signature. I need to, some way, shape, or form, my online presence needs a little bit of a reboot, or I need some just assistance because it's not within me to do it. And just because it's not within me doesn't mean someone else can't come and assist me. That's Saturn in Aquarius. Where do you need some community and group support? And that's what you're going to be reviewing for the next 5 months. So you can still get a whole lot done, even though Saturn's retrograde. And then with Mercury, we've got him in his shadow period, his post-retrograde shadow period, until the 19th. So now you're in that chapter 3 section, which is what I like to call the cosmic cleanup of a Mercury retrograde. So yes, he's moving forward slowly, but he's not going to clear his retrograde story until the 13th. So you can go back, or until the 19th, sorry. You can go back to, and this week we're going to have a third conversation between Mercury and Pluto, which is very much a very important part of Mercury's retrograde, because he's been trying to Pluto, and he's had this conversation twice already, and now this week, towards the end of the week, he comes and he has his third and final, which is like, let's wrap up stories around change and power and trust, and transformation and the truth. And Mercury's going to speak to power, speak truth to power, speak truth to change, speak change that is transformative. And I went back and just looked at the dates for me, and I'll give you the dates when we talk about the planets. And I realized, I was like, oh my gosh, mine was very much about helpful people and me helping myself. And now Pluto's, things underground, things that are hidden, things that are felt but not necessarily seen. So one of the things, this is why I say helping myself, I've been pretty vocal about how much I love feng shui lately, and I got into it in 2020, and then here and there I've just been making all kinds of changes. And YouTube folks, you guys can see you can see a little bit of my background of where I live. And I've been making changes, and ironically enough, most of the changes are behind the camera. But I'll be showing more. There's a few more things. My perfectionist Virgo self is like, oh, I don't want to show that part yet until it's all the way done. I will be showing more at another time, I promise. But my bathroom falls in the knowledge and wisdom area of my Bagua map. And so I was like, there was a period of time about a week ago where I was just like, ugh, no matter what I do, I'm drained. No matter what, I wake up and I'm up for a couple of hours and I'm tired. I need to lay down. I'm feeling drained. That's what I kept saying over and over. Then I realized, or I said to myself, your knowledge and wisdom, so in that area of their Bagua map on feng shui, that's my brain, that's my intellect, that's just me. That's how how comfortable I am with myself, and how aware I am of my surroundings, the things that I want, the things that I've learned, the things that I know, whatever. Well, my sink, my bathroom sink, in the knowledge and wisdom, I've been knowing that I need to have the drain cleaned out, or I needed to do it myself, or whatever. So I was like, you know what? I'm feeling drained, and it was under Mercury Pluto. I said, I'm going to do this myself. I am going to YouTube education my way through cleaning out my drain. And when I tell you what came out of that drain was so incredibly disgusting. And I am a very proud Virgo. I am a very clean person. Tidy, like I need to vacuum. That's my boyfriend would be like, hey, yeah, you need to vacuum. I could vacuum more, that's for sure. But as far as like counters and, oven top bathroom and mirrors and stuff, I'm pretty darn clean. And that drain was so gross. And I came and looked at the aspects and I laughed because I was like, this is so Mercury, Pluto right now. Pluto unearthing like the swamp, the mucky, dirty stuff. Now that's also symbolic too, right? So you think about your life and like where have there been some, exposés, or where have you been knowing that there's something working behind the scenes? There's something going on that you know it within you, intuitively, a lot of times too, Mercury Pluto aspects, if you've been doing some dirty-ish, if you've been cheating, been lying, been stealing, a lot of times, because Mercury retrograde was in the smack dab of Taurus, Scorpio eclipses too. A lot of people that were doing some dirty things behind the scenes are getting caught. And Mercury is calling it out. Mercury is talking about it. So, we can keep that in mind just moving forward because of eclipses, Taurus, Scorpio, through October 2023. We're going to be unearthing some stuff. We're just going to be some exposés on all kinds of people. Anyone that's doing shady business behind closed doors, lots of times they get caught. And truth to power comes out. So that is an energy that could also be something that's true for you. But what I noticed in my Mercury Pluto was there was a lot of helpful people. I worked with some powerful people, and have brought them on as clients. Lizzo being one of them, a Taurus. So of course, Taurus, Scorpio eclipses. And Mercury Pluto. So that was one of the powerful things with me, was like, oh my gosh, I admire this person so much as an artist. And of course, I'm a dancer and choreographer myself. So I was already like, oh, brava, ma'am, brava. And then it was just so cool that my friend Shantae was so cool enough and kind enough to say like, hey, like, she's really into astrology and you're great. So I want to make this link. And then the link happened. So that didn't happen under the last set of eclipses. That was last year, but still, I was able to make it public, I guess is what I'll say. And that's that Mercury Pluto of just like, oh my gosh, like, this is so cool. I've been getting to work with you, and now I get to say like, hey, this is what's been going on behind the scenes. Like, it's just cool. So you could see how that, stays, how that relates to you and what you have going on with your Mercury Pluto. I also want to say that I'm about to get into the moons this week, but I'm also going to be answering a listener question. My friend Laura from Annie Mae's Sweet Cafe back in my hometown of Louisville, Kentucky. She wrote me an email a couple weeks ago, and last week I totally blanked. Mercury retrograde, my ruling planet. I totally blanked and I forgot to answer the question. So now, Laura, I've got you covered. Now, Laura is a Gemini, and she had a few questions, like any good Gemini, like, I want to know this, but then I want to know this, and I want to know this. So, Laura, if you're listening, I've got you, and I'm going to answer your questions. And if you ever are listening to this podcast and you have questions, you can click the link in the show notes, whether it's on YouTube, the description, or on a podcast platform. I have a link down there where you can just go and just submit your question, and I'll answer it. So we're going to answer Laura's questions. Okay, so I think that covers up my... the only other thing, general note for this week, is... Well, there's actually two. The moon is hyperactive this week. So that means we're going to be doing a lot of adjusting, and there's just a lot of activity. So this is another week where I will say you want to remain flexible. I know we're all coming out of that standstill energy and we want to go, we want to press go, we want to move. Slow and steady march and keep adjusting. Stay flexible. It might not, and it will, this week, probably not going to happen the way you think things are going to happen or should happen, but that doesn't mean they're not going to happen. It just means you have to be super flexible. You got to be like, whoo, 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 whoo. You know, duck and dodge and bob and weave and ebb and flow. Those are all the energies you want to take with you this week. So you can still get things done. You can still move forward, but you just need to be flexible with how you're getting to your destination. Some of you with all this Uranus, you might be switching your destination, okay? Your goal, your dream, your vision. You might find that this week you're either going to change the way you approach that destination, or you're going to be like, do I even want this destination at all? Should I just completely just take a hard right and just go somewhere else? That's all, you know, Uranus is in the sky this week. So we've got adjusting moons pretty much all friggin' week. And so that's that flexibility. As long as you're not married to one way of getting things done, I'm talking to you fixed signs, Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius. As long as you can just say, okay, I know that my end goal is this, but I know that this week I'm just gonna have to, I'm going to, sorry, I thought my computer was almost died. I was scarred from when it happened a couple weeks ago. But we're all good. You know, you, as long as you say, I know my end goal, but I know this week I'm just going to be flexible and bendable. Doesn't mean you have to break, doesn't mean you have to snap, but I'm just going to be a little bit more undulating and waving with the way that I'm going to get to that end goal, and I'm going to reach it. So you can still reach it, but you just got to be flexible this week. And then the last general note for the week is that the nodes are direct Tuesday through Saturday. So you get Monday to kind of like, well, that's the first Uranus aspect, so you might not be like necessarily, some of you might not necessarily be like laying low on Monday. But as far as the nodes go, fated conversations, events, pitches, proposals, shaking lots of hands, and then sanitizing later. There's the nodes, there's a lot of fated events this week. So the only way that you can take advantage of that is by getting out there. Whether that's sending emails, text messages, phone calls, but actually in the world. You want to be out in the world, and you want to be, you want to be talking about your ideas, even if they're like half done, or you don't feel like, I don't know, like I don't know exactly. This is a week, Tuesday through Saturday, to just shake hands, speak your message, speak your truth, speak your love, speak your friendship. This is a very fated week. Okay? So that's that. All right, so let's talk about the moons, and then we'll talk about the planets, and then I'm going to answer Laura's questions. Okay, so Monday, June 6th, the moon is in Virgo. It has 2 adjusting aspects and then a trine to Venus at 9:05 p.m. All the times I give you, Pacific Daylight Time, so make sure you adjust for your time zone. So yeah, there's adjusting all through the day on Monday. Now, Virgo moons make us feel like we just have a lot to do. Priorities, that's what you want with this Virgo moon. It has great closing aspects, but adjustments. So you just want to say, okay, I got to prioritize. But that trine to Venus Monday night, very nice. On Tuesday the 7th, the Virgo moon has 3 adjusting aspects. There is a trine to Uranus at 7:26 a.m. But there's also the Virgo quarter moon at 7:48 a.m. at 16 degrees, 51 minutes of Virgo. So if you go to 16 degrees of Virgo in your chart, you're going to find where this balancing act is present in your chart. Now, Virgo quarter moons can really make us feel like I have all these things to do and it's impossible. I'm never going to get through them. That's can be the energy, but you want to just step back and say, what needs to be done right now? And you just pick one, or you make a list of, hello Virgo energy, you make a list of like, okay, by today, I need 1 and 2 to be done. I can get 3 and 4 done by Friday. And then 5 and 6, whatever. But also, this tugs on last week's Gemini new moon. You remember that? Probably not, because it was... This is actually going to tie into one of Laura's questions. That Gemini new moon just came at a funked up time because Saturn and Mercury weren't moving. So that new moon energy of like, oh, I want to do more. It's like activating, but it was activating at a time where nothing was moving. So this quarter moon serves as like, okay, so everything wasn't moving last week, but now like I want to move on all these things, and you can, because there's slow forward motion. But now it's just like things you might feel like if you've been putting off things even last week when I was saying get all your grunt work done, your grunt work might feel like it piled up this week. And so you just need to prioritize. I'll also say if there are any health matters that you have been putting off, this week is the time to start making the appointments. I know Herman and I are going to be doing the research of like, because we're on the same insurance plan. So it's just like, all right, we need to establish who is our primary care doctor, who's our dentist. I have a chiropractor, he doesn't. It's just like doing that. And that's one of the things that we're doing this week. So, you just want to find the Virgo area of your chart, 16 degrees, 51 minutes. And that's that house, those planets, whatever is in and around there. That's where you need to get a little diligent about your priorities. But if there's any health matters at all that you've been putting off, or that you've just been like, this is the week to do it. Okay. Then on Wednesday, June 8th, the Virgo moon goes void at 5:09 a.m. with a trine to Pluto. So great closing aspects, lots of work getting done, shooting through that to-do list, and all through change, or all about change and transformation and truth and power, but really finding that just power within yourself of like, oh yes, back to that like Mel Robbins quote. Then at 8:23 a.m. on the 8th, the moon enters Libra. It has an opposition to Jupiter at 5:26 p.m. So that's just an overdoing. There's a lot of energy there. Then on Thursday the 9th, the Libra moon, baby, 1, 2, 3, 4 adjusting aspects, 2 oppositions, 2 quincunxes, all day, starting early in the morning, all day, all the way until 6:57 p.m. when the moon has a trine to the sun. So all those adjustments within partnerships and relationships under this Libra moon on Wednesday after 8:23 a.m. And then Thursday, that trine to the sun like illuminates a relationship and a part of a relationship that's, beautiful. It shines light on it in a nice, juicy, flowy, collaborative way. Then on Friday, June 10th, the Libra moon has 3 adjustments as a Libra moon, and then another one for the Scorpio moon. But it goes void at 10:36 a.m. on Friday the 10th with a square to Pluto. So that is, under that Libra moon, that is separation, stress, challenges, friction, but it's also action. So this is the same day, Friday the 10th, that Mercury meets up with Pluto. So there's that truth to power, and then there's that stressful action energy with that closing aspect of a square to Pluto. So some things are gonna be unearthed this week. Let me tell you too, because then the moon goes into Scorpio at 1:41 p.m. on Friday. Oh, I'm getting so many ideas of how this might play out. Scorpio, the moon enters Scorpio at 1:41 p.m. on Friday afternoon. And Scorpio moon, hello, we just got out of Scorpio lunar eclipse a couple of weeks ago. So this Scorpio moon with that Mercury Pluto, the Libra moon going square to Pluto. Do you see all that Pluto influence? Scorpio ruled by Pluto. It's unearthing it's some things, and then Uranus is kind of like blowing things up. Oh baby, this week it's gonna be action packed. Woo baby. Okay, sorry, how am I doing on time? Okay, I'm about to go to a pool party, so that's why I'm currently in the regalia I'm in. Okay, so the Scorpio moon, it has that adjusting aspect at 10:38 p.m. Friday night. Then on Saturday the 11th, Oh my gosh, that Scorpio moon has 1, 2, 3, 4, all oppositions and quincunxes, so all adjusting aspects on Saturday. Also the day that Venus meets with Uranus, so we are literally, this is why I say flexibility is key this week, okay? Then on Sunday the 12th, the Scorpio moon has 2 adjustments, and then trine and sextile, so that's nice. So it adjusts in the first part of the day and then has nice flowy at the end. It goes void at 2:40 p.m. with an opposition to Mercury. Opposition to Mercury, you guys. So all that Pluto energy, y'all watch for the last half of this week. Watch for the last half of this week. Wednesday through Sunday, things are coming out. Things are coming to the surface. A Scorpio moon opposite Mercury. So, an opposition to Mercury is like, argumentative and separative, and it's fighting words. But we're talking about Scorpio and Pluto energy. So it is like calling out, unearthing things from beneath the surface, and in a way that is stressful. So that can also be, depending on, I'm getting all hyped, but that can also be you putting something out, right? If you've been a little behind the scenes, if you've been a little like, oh, I don't know. And Mel Robbins quote, confidence is the willingness to try. Okay, so if you haven't been willing to try, haven't been really feeling that confident, and now you're like, wait a minute, I'm starting to wake up after eclipses, after retrograde, like I'm starting to feel like I'm coming out again. Well, then that opposition to Mercury can actually put some of the things that you've been holding on to, something that you've been wanting to put out but just haven't been confident within yourself to put it out. Well, this is also great put out energy. And the nodes, Tuesday through Saturday are direct. So there's a fated component to whatever you do put out this week. So just be mindful that, it doesn't have to be this like knockdown, drag out, crazy thing. It can also be just you finding it within yourself, finding that inner power within yourself to go, you know what, I am willing to try. And you just start putting out. I know it's definitely one of the versions of what I'm most excited about under this energy. Some things I'm going to be doing. So yes, the moon on Sunday the 12th goes void at 2:40 p.m. opposite Mercury, and then it enters Sagittarius at 3:31 p.m., and then that Sag moon doesn't have any aspects. Now, for the planets, on Monday the 6th, Sun has a sextile to Chiron. I have a whole write-up about that in my newsletter. I won't talk on it here, but if you're on the newsletter, you'll see that write-up tomorrow. It's a really powerful thing. But we also have Uranus conjunct Pallas Athena tomorrow. So that's at 16 degrees, 35 minutes of Taurus. So this is some shocking, electrifying energy towards your innovativeness, your new sense of vision and determination. It brings exciting energy to your strategy moving forward. And this is also one of those like, oh, my strategy is now flipped because my destination is flipped. There's something there, where it's just like, your plan or your strategy only needs to work for you. It's probably not going to work for everyone, but if it resonates with you and resonates with your dream and your vision, then that is it. That's the path, but it can be very unique to you. So just keep that in mind. Then we're going to jump to Mercury trine Pluto, Friday the 10th at 2:21 p.m., the third of 3. So you go back to April 28th when Mercury was first in its pre-retrograde shadow. Then May 25th when Mercury was retrograde. And now June 10th is that third of 3, wrapping up the story around truth, change, power, transformation, and also those things of like getting things out. Then on Saturday, there is a Venus-Uranus conjunction. So there again, when it comes to love, relationships, partnerships, money, desires, the things that you want, the actual physical things, because Taurus is tangible, it gets a nice electrifying shock. It gets a nice uplift. I keep hitting the mic, so I'm so sorry to those of you on the podcast platform. But it gets a knock from Uranus, so that can switch your direction. It can switch your relationship. It can bring a nice electrifying surge of energy there. So pay attention to where you feel. It can also be a great idea about moving forward. And then, okay, so that's it for all we talked about the Virgo quarter moon. And you'll also have the write-up of this in your newsletter. So now I just want to move to Laura's questions that she sent in, because they were really, really good questions. And I have never been asked about Black Moon Lilith. And that was one of her questions, was that she hadn't heard me talking about Black Moon Lilith. And my sum up for what Black Moon Lilith is in your chart is, in layman's terms, in Graham's terms, in drunk astrology terms, it is your inner raging bitch. It is you at your most raw form. So when you find the sign and house for your Lilith, you can see where, like, where she comes out to play, because Lilith is that warrior energy. It's our dark side, right? So it is just it's a very powerful point, and it's like who we become when we are pushed to our limits, or where we are like, you know what, reckless abandon. Lilith steps in and says, oh, hell no. However she does it. I have my Lilith is in Taurus, in my 9th house. So it's just like, oh, okay. When someone comes at me, my business, my education, my experience, my life philosophy, when I'm like criticized, or there was one point in my life where important people in my life were making me feel like I was less than worthy of the things that I was doing. Then Lilith was coming out to play. And it wasn't, it takes a lot, especially for Virgo. It takes a lot to get me there, but baby, when I am pushed to the corner, or you try to disqualify, oh yeah, no. Or when this especially comes out when it's like related to my family or friends, baby, I am a raging bull when it comes to me and my raw form of like protecting my family, my friends, my chosen people. Oh no, yeah, you don't want to mess with me. At all. So that's really I did make a note of that too. It can be repressed sexuality too. That's one thing about Lilith, but it's raw. It's like you in your rawest form. But I like to say your inner raging bitch. Just because it's like, oh yeah, well, I can see that. Because it's like I have all that Virgo on my chart, which is very nice and very diplomatic and, cool, but don't catch me at the wrong time or messing with my people. Baby, it's not gonna be cute for you. Okay, and then the last thing was she was asking about the moon at when it reaches apogee and perigee. So apogee is when the moon is at its furthest distance from the Earth, and perigee is when it is at its closest distance to Earth, because the moon wraps around in an ellipse. So we had the Gemini new moon last week, and then on the Gemini new moon was May 30th, but the moon was at apogee on June 1st. So she was asking, like, how does that play into that new moon energy? So this is my answer is, and astrologically speaking, when the moon is furthest from Earth at a new moon, it is not that what you manifest and what you are calling in for yourself isn't within reach, but it will require more focus. It will require more communication. It will require, because we're talking about Gemini, it will require extra effort to get to what you're trying to manifest, because it's out of our reach. So you can just think about that symbolically, like, oh, it's furthest from Earth, so now it's not impossible at all. And I don't want anyone to take that away from, I don't want that to be what you take away. It's just, if you want what you say you want under that Gemini new moon, then it is like, then you better be willing to work your buns off to get it. And then the opposite is true for when the moon reaches perigee, which it will for the Sagittarius full moon on the 14th of this month, which is next week. That Sag full moon is going to be extra powerful, extra potent, extra climactic, because now the moon and the Earth are super close to each other. And they just have, because the Earth is going to be wedged between the sun and the moon, but the moon's going to be super close to Earth. So, then it's just like, oh, wow. So the things that come up, that come out, that complete under that Sag full moon are going to be super powerful. Okay, so that's it. I'm letting you guys get out of here. Go enjoy your week. I will see you all week long on social media, so catch me there. If you're not on the newsletter, you better get on the newsletter. And that's it for me. Okay, have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful week. Here's to forward motion, and here's to confidence being the willingness to try. See you later.